America was founded on faith, as we know, and I've been saying it for a long time. And when faith gets weaker, our country seems to get weaker. I created the first ever Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias. And for those people that are a little bit naive or not well-read, there is a tremendous anti-Christian bias. We don't hear about it. We don't think about it. You hear about anti-Semitic, but you don't hear about anti-Christian. Now, you have a strong anti-Christian bias, but we're ending that rapidly.
Interesting morning. Comments from President Trump there. You see Bishop Robert Barron and you see Dr. Ben Carson, a bunch of faith leaders, many faith leaders who were up on that stage. There's the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. This was at the Museum of the Bible. Very interesting place. If you haven't been there, it's a very interesting place to visit. And this comes on the heels of the DOJ task force report that claims that there was, quote, systematic pattern of discrimination against Christians during the Biden administration. President Trump also saying today that the Education Department will issue new guidance on prayer in schools. No details yet of what that will look like. But let's bring in Ben Carson, vice chair of the Religious Liberty Commission that was established by President Trump. He's also chair of the American Cornerstone Institute. Dr. Carson, it's always great to see you. Good to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining me. Can you give people a sense of how you see it in terms of how anti-Christian bias has surfaced in recent years, and some would say in particular in terms of the use of the government under the Biden administration?
Well, it depends a lot on who the leadership is, of course. President Trump is very different and has deep feelings of Christian beliefs and believes that he was saved by God for a purpose. The Biden administration had a very different belief system, and is manifested by, for instance, a situation where some Christian women were demonstrating peacefully in front of an abortion clinic and ended up in jail. Now that would only happen, obviously, if you really were quite hostile toward them. And there's been a series of things like that, bias against Christian schools, against Catholic parents, against a whole host of things, and people wanting to shut people up and not talk about Christianity in schools where teaching is being done about history. Yeah. You can talk about virtually any other thing except Christianity.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to play this from Shay Encinas, who spoke today, and then I just want to get a brief thought from you on the other side, if I may, Dr. Carson. Let's watch.
When I was in 5th grade, my school forced me to teach my kindergarten buddy about changing his gender using a book called My Shadow is Pink. The book said you can choose your gender based on feelings instead of how God made us. I knew this was not right, but I was afraid of getting in trouble. After my family spoke up, the school treated us badly, and kids started bullying me and my brother because of our faith. And the school did nothing to stop it.
I mean, you know, the wisdom of having a gender-based book read by a grade schooler to a kindergartner is very questionable to begin with. But obviously this young man knew that something didn't feel right about this. Dr. Carson, your quick thought here, sir.
Well, think about there were two fouls committed here. First of all, forcing this 5th grader to read material that he was that was objectionable to him, and then forcing him to read it to a kindergartner, keeping in mind that the brain is not fully developed until your mid to late 20s, and children are very suggestible and very curious, and you're forcing this stuff upon an undeveloped brain, many times without the permission of the parents. That's more than objectionable. That's child abuse.
Dr. Ben Carson, it was an interesting morning. We thank you for the work that you're doing in this arena and for joining me today. It's always good to see you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.